Will the Bharatiya Janata Party have a new party president by mid-July? Are the BJP and the RSS on the same page? And not just on the broad parameters of selection, but the specific names of who the party candidates would be for party president. Because 50% of the states have to have new presidents in place before the election of the national president can take place for the party. 16 of 19 states are done. 3, including Uttar Pradesh and Madhya Pradesh, are pending. But there is trouble in states like Telangana, for example, where T. Raja Singh put in his papers and N. Ramachandra Rao has now taken over as the state party chief. What's happening? What's cooking within the BJP? We get you more in this report. Aishwarya Paliwal reports.
The race for the next BJP national president has picked up pace. With organizational polls nearing completion in several states, sources say the RSS and BJP top brass are close to reaching a consensus on who they want for the top job. As per BJP's constitution, the national president can only be elected after organizational elections are conducted in at least half of all state units and usually holds office for 3 years. N. Ramachandra Rao has been declared the new BJP president for Telangana.
I will definitely see that the Telangana BJP works hard, and our aim is to come to power in Telangana in the next elections. So in this regard, the cadre, the leaders, together will have to work hard, and I will strive for that.
Senior BJP leader PVN Madhav officially took over as the party's Andhra Pradesh unit president, succeeding D. Purandeshwari. And in Himachal Pradesh, Rajiv Bindal has been appointed the new president, while Mahendra Bhatt will now lead the party in Uttarakhand as state chief. This after VP Ramalingam and K. Bechu were elected BJP presidents of Puducherry and Mizoram respectively. The process of electing state presidents has also begun in states like Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh and West Bengal, with many expected to follow suit this week. In Karnataka, all eyes are on Vijendra, the frontrunner, but names like Sunil Kumar and C.T. Ravi remain in contention. In West Bengal, the party may replace Sukanta Majumdar with Shamik Bhattacharya or a woman leader like Loket Chatterjee or Agnimitra Paul, as factionalism threatens unity ahead of 2026 polls. Sources say Suvendu is also keen for the post. In Madhya Pradesh, caste balance is key. SC, ST and OBC leaders are in the race as BJP eyes social harmony. So far, 16 out of 37 state units have completed the process. Once the count hits 19, the party will be in position to initiate the national president's election. With the threshold almost met, the BJP's new national president could be named soon, setting the stage for the party's next phase of leadership ahead of crucial elections in 5 states over the next 12 months. With Aishwarya Paliwal, Bureau Report, India Today.
And Prime Minister Narendra Modi embarks on a 5-nation tour. He would be out from the 2nd of July till the 9th of July. So the process is likely to firm up for him to take a final call when he returns. But is the Sangh on board too? Joining me for more on this big story is India Today's Aishwarya Paliwal, tracking developments closely, and a senior journalist, Aarti Jairath, with me on the story. Aishwarya, are the BJP and the RSS on the same page now? Because the RSS has always been insisting on a strong organization-centric leader to be party president.
Well, Gaurav, there's a reason for that. The RSS now believes that the next turn has to now take place. A new dawn has to come because the elections that we will see in the coming states of Tamil Nadu, the BJP has been eyeing it for quite some time. The state of West Bengal, the BJP was very, very clear that they will snatch it from TMC the last time, but that did not happen. The BJP stopped at mere 77. So keeping all those things in mind, the RSS now believes that someone who can actually make sure that there is a change, an entire churning of sorts that takes place in the BJP, that's what the RSS is looking at. The BJP also, Gaurav, at the moment is understanding that there is a need for a churning of sorts to take place. The same churning, Gaurav, that we saw when Amit Shah actually became the BJP president. That kind of churning is something that the BJP is now looking at, almost on the same page, Gaurav. In the next fortnight, I can give you this much we are understanding from our sources. In the next fortnight, we will have a name come out, a name that will that both the BJP and the RSS will be agreeing with. In the next 15 days, BJP will have a new president.
Okay, of course, it was a big jump from 3 to 77 even in Bengal, and emerging as the principal opposition party where it had struggled for decades and decades just to make inroads. Aarti Jairath, Prime Minister Narendra Modi had this meeting with the RSS chief Mohan Bhagwat. Analysts said the aim was to ensure that they were both on the same page on who the next BJP president is, somebody with a strong Sangh background, not seen as just a yes man, rubber stamping decisions of the Prime Minister and the Home Minister. In your appreciation, has that been addressed?
Well, let's see the name that they come up with. Then we'll be able to really see whether the RSS has prevailed or whether the BJP has prevailed. It's interesting that this process, Nadda's term finished at the end of 2023, and we are now in the middle of 2025. So it's been 1.5 years that Nadda has just been, sort of functioning on an extension. And, this is very rare for the BJP to be so undecided about who the party president should be, particularly once Modi took over the reins as Prime Minister. The decisions have been taken very, very quickly, whether it was putting Amit Shah in as party president, then replacing Amit Shah with JP Nadda. It all happened very quickly, very decisively. But, I think the results of the 2024 Lok Sabha polls, kind of threw both the BJP and the RSS off, because it revealed a lot of internal fractures within the BJP, between the RSS and the BJP. And I think a lot of time has been spent on trying to address those internal issues, which then, came this whole Operation Sindhu, this resurgence of terror in Kashmir, Donald Trump disrupting the entire world order, demanding, sort of a trade agreement with India. So, it's been a very, very tumultuous time. And I think both the BJP and the RSS, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, as well as the RSS chief, haven't really had the time to sit down and kind of work their way through the internal problems of the BJP in the midst of all these external pressures that have come on India and the government. But they can't delay it anymore, because I think people are beginning to talk. People within the BJP are beginning.
Yeah. And Aishwarya, several names.
Very, very unsettled that there is.
Several names have been doing the rounds. We were going through some of the names in public domain: Dharmendra Pradhan, Bhupendra Yadav, Shivraj Singh Chauhan, and several others. So what works and what doesn't? You have this big smile, because usually it is said whatever name does the round in public domain, those are names that are completely out.
Well, Gaurav, that's the exact reason why I'm smiling, because see, we have also heard all these names. So the idea is to make sure that someone can who can be a perfect balance between BJP and the RSS, because the RSS is not an organization that will look only for a decade. They look decades ahead. What they are now looking at is to make sure that Bharatiya Janata Party becomes this big party, the party that has given out so many things to the people. Over the past 11 years, we have seen how the schemes have worked out, how they have reached to the last person. That is what the RSS at the moment is looking at. The BJP understands that there are complications when you run a government. So all those things need to be taken into consideration. ML Khattar also, Gaurav, is one of the names that we are hearing. We also understand that one person who understands the RSS and the BJP who makes sure that he understands both RSS, BJP, that's the name that, let me tell you, will come out, because going forward, not just the state elections, 2029 big elections is also something that is on the minds of both RSS and the Bharatiya Janata Party, Gaurav.
And Mr. Khattar is also someone who has the Prime Minister's trust. They've been in the Sangh together for a fairly long time. Aarti Jairath, when you look at the changing dynamics, external and internal, both the BJP and the Sangh would realize that they both need each other right now more than perhaps ever before, in case that big 2029 push has to be made.
Oh, absolutely. Because, today, Gaurav, India is facing a lot of external challenges. I mean, as you well know, following the, sort of Donald Trump becoming US president, and then following, the attack in Kashmir, and then the Indo-Pak war that happened for, 4 days, the role that China played in, beating up Pakistani military and so on.
Yes.
So, there are huge external challenges facing India. And I think it is very important that the RSS and the BJP are on the same page moving forward, not just for the elections, but also for the security and stability of the country. So, you really don't want this kind of, what we're seeing currently in UP, for instance, where there's so much, disturbance going on internally in the BJP. They haven't even been able to elect some of their district chiefs because there's so much infighting going on. So that's the kind of thing that they cannot afford, which is why I think this push for a good, strong organizational man who can bring some order into the BJP and, build up the organizational strength, which has always been the BJP's big strength as they compare to the Congress or other opposition parties.
And Aishwarya will be tracking that story very closely. Aishwarya Paliwal and Aarti Jairath for joining me here on India Today. Many thanks. There's breaking news coming in, and that's a big story, a very strong statement that's just been made by the External Affairs Minister, Dr. S. Jaishankar, in Washington, D.C. He was at the Quad Foreign Ministers meeting, and Dr. S. Jaishankar said, and I quote, "A word about terrorism in the light of our recent experience. The world must display zero tolerance. Victims and perpetrators must never be equated. India has every right to defend its people against terrorism, and we will exercise that right. We expect our Quad partners to understand and appreciate that. India plans to host the next Quad summit. We have some proposals on how to make that productive. I'm sure so do our partners. We will discuss, and I'm sure that we will agree." A strong statement. And when the Foreign Minister of India says this, and the Foreign Minister, especially of the United States of America, is listening at a time when a radical Islamist terror state, Pakistan's failed marshal or the terror perpetrating army chief, has been given a quiet lunch at White House, there are signals that Quad partners must understand. But let's listen in to Dr. S. Jaishankar.
A word about terrorism in the light of our recent experience. The world must display zero tolerance. Victims and perpetrators must never be equated. And India has every right to defend its people against terrorism, and we will exercise that right. We expect our Quad partners to understand and appreciate that. India plans to host the next Quad summit. We have some proposals on how to make that productive. I'm sure so do our partners. We will discuss, and I'm sure we will agree. Once again, I thank Secretary Rubio for hosting us today, and I look forward to our discussions.
I want to bring in India Today's Pranay Upadhyay for more on this. So, Pranay, Dr. Jaishankar didn't mince his words, and India is cut up about that White House lunch for that radical Islamist terror state's field marshal, somebody who should be in the doghouse for being a radical Islamist terror state and sponsor, is being fed lunch at White House, something that Quad partners don't really appreciate.
You're absolutely right, Gaurav, and this is a clear message sent out by the External Affairs Minister of India, Dr. S. Jaishankar, right from the US soil. He went to New York in the first leg of his visit, and he inaugurated the exhibition hosted by the Permanent Mission of India Against Terrorism, that how India has been victim and how world should treat the menace of terrorism. You would recall, Gaurav, that since you and I have been covering these issues for quite some time, and since 9/11 onwards, and even before for that. India's policy as far as the terrorism is concerned has been consistent. India is the country who has always canvassed and has advocated the comprehensive convention against terrorism. While we have seen that, pre 9/11 and post 9/11, there has been various and many facets of the US policy against war on terror and against terrorism.
Yes.
And as far as the Pakistan is concerned, US has always chosen convenience over conviction. But this is the time when India, from the US soil, this was a clear message sent out by the External Affairs Minister of India, Dr. Jaishankar, in the presence of all the Quad members, Quad foreign ministers, and especially to Marco Rubio, who's the Secretary of State of US, that there should not be equation between perpetrators and those who have been victims of terror, because all these member states of Quad have suffered the menace and the wounds of terror, be it like 9/11 to many other terror attacks, even by the United States. You remember, Gaurav, that Muhammad Khalid, who was one of the perpetrators of 9/11, was caught in Pakistan in 2003, and since then we know that even Osama bin Laden and very many cases are there to show US that how Pakistan has been harboring and promoting terrorism.
Double standards on terrorism, unacceptable. A White House lunch for a failed marshal of a state sponsor of radical Islamist terror at a time when US says that it's fighting terror. Remember, post 9/11, America was saying you're either with us or against us. How is the US behaving today is something that perhaps Donald Trump also must ponder on. We'll be tracking that story very, very closely. Pranay, many thanks for joining me. We'll track that story, but that is all I have for you on India First this evening. Many thanks for watching.